China's silent revenge just began. Alright, buckle up, because the US chip war is unraveling and what's coming next could change the balance of global power. For over 2 years, Washington has been trying to cripple China's tech rise. But now the cracks are starting to show. And a few weeks ago, the CEO of Nvidia, Jensen Huang, flew straight to Beijing not to negotiate, not to threaten, but to pay his respects because deep down he knows the game is slipping away. Let's get one thing straight. China's greatest weapon isn't a hypersonic missile or a shiny AI model, it's endurance. The ability to take massive economic pain and come out swinging. As Jensen himself said, greatness doesn't come from intelligence, it comes from suffering, and suffer they did, but they also innovated. Sanctions didn't stop China. If anything, they forced Beijing to double down, to adapt, to build from scratch. Now back in December, Biden's AI chip export rule threw China into the Tier 3 dungeon, banning the most advanced chips from reaching them. Only the G7 and a few allies were spared. Everyone else? Cut off. The idea? Stop chips from leaking through third countries like Malaysia or Thailand. Sounds good on paper. But here's the kicker. You can't lead a global industry by walling yourself off from the world. The US is locking out revenue, customers, and influence, all while China gets smarter, cheaper, and faster. Now the Trump administration seems to have realized, maybe, just maybe, cutting off China entirely isn't sustainable, so they're tweaking the rules, loosening some restrictions to let companies like Nvidia breathe. Good move? Maybe. Too little? Too late? Probably. Because while Washington micromanages exports, Beijing is quietly building its entire chip supply chain, from design to lithography. That's right, China doesn't just want chips, they want the machines that make the chips. Despite all the bans and restrictions, over $15 billion worth of chips and equipment still made it to China last year. Sales rebounded, equipment flowed, companies adapted. You see the pattern? The sanctions didn't break China, they just made it more creative. Now, Huawei's back with new chips. Domestic lithography is on the rise. The walls Washington built, China's climbing over them. Fast. Nvidia saw this coming. They've been ringing the alarm bells. They know being locked out of China, a $50 billion market, is like Boeing being banned from making airplanes. It's not just bad, it's existential. Nvidia's R&D spending is dropping as a percentage of revenue. And after a $5 billion write-down from Trump's new restrictions, their growth is wobbling. If they can't sell to the world, innovation will slow. Meanwhile, China, with its cheaper research ecosystem and endless talent, is catching up. Jensen gets it. It's not about patriotism, it's about pragmatism. If the US steps out, others will step in. Huawei is ready, SMIC is rising, and America risks another Sputnik moment, where it realizes too late that it's no longer number one. The goal should be clear. Make the American standard the global standard. You do that by selling, learning, iterating, and not by shutting doors. Let's switch gears, literally, because it's not just chips. Japan's biggest automaker, Toyota, just took a $1.3 billion punch to the gut. Why? Trump's tariffs? Just 2 months of new duties wiped out 20% of their earnings. Their forward guidance? Collapsing. The whole strategy? Force companies to relocate production to the US. But here's the problem. Even US car makers like Ford and GM are bleeding. Ford expects a $1.5 billion hit. GM's earnings could nosedive by $2 billion. Tariffs are eating everyone alive, domestic and foreign alike. Even if Toyota does build new factories in the US, they're not safe. Why? Because the US dollar is weakening, dropping over 8% since February. That means when Toyota converts profits back to yen, they lose even more. It's a triple threat: higher costs, single market dependence, and FX risk. So let me ask you, why would any company risk all that just to sell cars in one country? This isn't just about semiconductors or tariffs, it's about the bigger picture. If the US keeps pushing away partners and limiting its markets, it will lose. Not today, not tomorrow, but within 5 years the balance could tilt, for good. Washington can't fight global innovation by going solo, and companies can't afford to put all their eggs in the American basket. So what do you think? Will the US completely dismantle chip sanctions on China? Are auto giants really going to shift production to the US? And most importantly, who wins this global power game? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you learned something, and don't forget to subscribe as we continue navigating these turbulent times. Stay sharp, stay informed, catch you in the next one.